I did probably the first digital only campaign for the company and probably in the category. This was 2016 or 17. Just so that at that time, doing a all India TV campaign would cost you anywhere between 25 to 30 crores. Now, when you do a digital campaign, we ended up spending 4.5 crores, which at that time probably was the single largest spend, at least in our FMCG category, on on a single brand and campaign. The problem was it didn't translate into sales. Some of you have been to Dubai before. Ankit's been to Dubai before. They're probably the best marketeers I know of. Every 3, 4, 5 years you come to Dubai, you'll have 10 different things to do. And to be able to stay relevant, continue to update themselves, you need to learn how to do it from Dubai.
Welcome guys to Conversations Cafe. We are in Dubai. Conversations Cafe is a show that brings ordinary Indians to you who've done extraordinary work. They are people just like you and me. They just strive for more. They worked harder. And most importantly, they made the right career choices. The one question that we ask everybody at All 20 by InsideIIM is this: do you invest in yourself enough?
Unfortunately, I bombed my CAT exam itself. This was misreading one of the logical reasoning data sets and picking out the exact opposite answers to what I should have. So I came out of the CAT exam thinking, yeah, 99.5 should be easy. It was heartbreaking. I finally ended up at about 97 percentile or something, but managed to crack that. Even after that happened, I wasn't very keen on taking it up. And that's when I remember going to some professors, some well-wishers, who clarified, Ankur, what you have in hand is really is very good. It's a great platform, as good as the IIMs. And I knew that working as a fresher wasn't the kind of independence which I was looking for. I was looking at the money which would probably come in once I've already finished with my MBA and I start there.
XLRI is where you started your professional journey from. So, where did you intern and why did you switch from where you were to what you have now been doing for a decade?
Yeah. So I did my summers at one of the largest banks in the world, Deutsche Bank, and I was part of the global markets team. And seemed like a fairly, sexy job to take off. Excel didn't have too many finance companies at that point of time, and this was one of the best ones which had come in. My internship experience is what ensured that I never join a bank in my life ever again. I used to go into office, my boss used to sit right opposite me. We had our backs to each other. He would come in at 8:45, he would be in office till 7:30, and he would barely get off his laptop. And for me to even speak to him, I had to send him an email. And I realized this isn't for me for sure. This is not what I want to be 10, 15 years down the line. And that was really the end of wanting to be in a bank for me. That is the role which internships should play in your life. It's not about only figuring out what you need to do in a place, but also if it helps you eliminate options, you should always go for it. So if finance was the default option, it helped me eliminate it. Always help. Something, even with live projects, once you get an experience of what is that you're doing, always take up experiences which will help you decide one way or the other.
First you said no to CA, then you said no to finance.
Right.
So how did the Tata Group happen to you? How did you sell the Tata Group to yourself?
So, to be honest, didn't really have to sell the Tata Group. Thankfully, the TAS program had a very strong equity. and the alumni was so strong, and you could see the kind of places they were at and the kind of difference which they were making. That was sold. And TS for me, I remember when they had come down for their campus pitch, there was this, seniors, one from Excel, one was from IIM Calcutta, and they spoke so highly of the work which they were doing and the pride and prestige of showing a business card with the blue logo on it and how people treated them. And that really stuck with me. And one of the main reasons of joining TAS or joining the Tata Group has always been the canvas which it provides to make a difference. And I didn't feel there was a better place to do that.
Clearly, there is loyalty here because you've been there for about 12, 13 years now.
15 years now.
15 years now, sorry. Wow. That's a long time. Has this thought ever occurred that yaar ab bahut time ho gaya, I'm still working in the Tata Group after all these years, and I'm sure you have batchmates, etc., who have switched multiple companies. So why continue with the Tata Group?
The good thing is, for outsiders, it might be one company, but for me personally, it's been 4 different companies. I started off with our telecom company, moved to our chemicals company, moved to our FMCG company, and now I'm with the parent company, Tata Sons. And each of them has been a very different culture, structure, experience. So it's genuinely felt like changing 4 companies, except you just carry the same brand and same sort of values and ways of working around. But so that's what the experience hasn't been stale or stagnant in any way.
Okay, let me put you in a spot now. Which is your favorite stint over the last 15 years? Which is your favorite Tata company that you worked for?
Definitely our FMCG company.
Tata Consumer Products.
Tata Consumer Products. Working with our tea, coffee businesses was fantastic. At that time, I was heading the premium tea category for the India business, which had the Tetley brand, Tata Tea, Veda, etc. But more than that, I fell in love with the entire crop to cup story. I used to love visiting plantations, whether it was in Munnar or Darjeeling or Assam, understanding what goes into making a great cup of tea. And then how do you sell it to consumers? Because at the end, it's just tea.
So what is that one thing that you've done at the Tata Group that you are most proud of? Either one product or a campaign or a project that you like telling people about?
So different things, but I'll just pick one. And because I've started talking about Tata Consumer Products, just in continuation, I think turning around the Tetley green tea brand was something which I'm quite proud of. When I'd moved to that role, the brand was losing market share. Lipton's always been a very strong competitor, very deep pockets. We were struggling to get our product, communication, and our entire activation right. And within that 2-year period, it was one of the toughest times of my career because I was actually heading the category, but my brand manager had left on Tetley. So I was double hatting with the category and with the brand. We managed to do a campaign. We had Deepika as a brand ambassador for one of them. We had Ganguly as one. And
that's because of your love for Kolkata.
He was so basically, he was available. He wasn't as expensive as we thought he would be, and he did a great job. The arrogance which we associate with him, when you meet him in person, he's a fabulous gentleman, one of the best we worked with. So yeah, that turnaround of trying to start from scratch, challenging your assumptions of what is it that the consumer really wants from a product, what are various ways in which you can get them to understand that, communicate it to them, was a fantastic experience, which also happened in another brand which we had, which was Tata Tea Veda, which was, we said, tea with goodness of Ayurveda in it. So we had 5 herbs, but it's very difficult in FMCG to combine health benefits with taste. When we drink tea, we want sensorials, we want a great cup, and cracking that was also a very interesting experience.
So Ankur, you obviously know that at Altuni we run the digital marketing program. And since you've been talking about marketing, how were you preparing for the digitization wave, and what kind of things that your team did? Because that was truly the time when things were changing.
Right.
Did you see it happening the way it is today?
Okay. So interestingly, I did probably the first digital only campaign for the company and probably in the category. This was 2016 or 17. Just so that at that time, doing a all India TV campaign would cost you anywhere between 25 to 30 crores. Now, when you do a digital campaign, we ended up spending 4.5 crores, which at that time probably was the single largest spend, at least in our FMCG category, on a single brand and campaign. We had the best metrics which we'd ever heard of. I've forgotten, was it about 500 million impressions and 24 million engagements and whatever else at that point of time. And the agencies who I was working with were tom-tomming the success, saying, we have broken records, top of views everywhere, trending everywhere, which was great. The problem was it didn't translate into sales.
I was just going to come to that.
and we had loaded all of our shelves and the offtake was abysmal. And that's the journey which I think has happened in digital marketing, because the linkage between mind measures to sales was very weak back then, 5-6 years ago. And even now, I think there has been a lot of performance marketing or being able to correlate and retarget your consumers and make it more actionable, and that's something which I think has changed. Even now when I interact with my colleagues back home, there's still a gap when it comes to how do you correlate the return on investment for a FMCG physical habit related product, not an impulse product, and that's something which probably will be the future of how do you get digital, because the cost efficiencies are of course already there, right? Spending 25 crores versus spending 4 crores. I know digital has gotten much more expensive now because everyone's on it.
So Ankur, I mean, clearly you seem to have had a ball at TCPL. Why are you here in Dubai? And why don't you tell us what you do in Dubai, what your designation is, because all across LinkedIn, all across all the Dubai Instagram pages, somewhere you are connected directly, indirectly. So just wanted to know about this particular stage of your life.
Okay, so this was probably the hardest career choice I had to make in my life, because I was actually, as I said, I really enjoyed my time with TCPL. I was very happy there. But me and my wife were doing long distance. She was based in Bombay, I was based in Bangalore. It was okay for some time, but then it got very taxing. I then started looking for roles in Bombay. I was quite close to one which was very exciting. But then at the same time, she had an opportunity to move to Dubai with her company. And it was a very good role. And it was too good to turn down. So options for us was that either she says yes and we still continue the long distance, which in my mind I decided was no longer an option. And the second one was that I follow her and I figure something out. And so we decided that she moves to Dubai. Incidentally, and it's just karma, Ankit, the day she accepted her offer was the day this particular role was floated in the Tata Group. We have this Tata Sons office. I'll explain what I do, but do you want to join there? And I said, okay, this is clearly fate, and let's go with it. And we had the interview process. I also made it, and we were very lucky to move almost within a couple of months of each other to Dubai. And now it's been a little over 3.5 years for us here. Here right now I head corporate affairs and growth for Tata Sons Middle East and North Africa. In essence, I actually lead the Tata Sons office for this particular region. Now, Tata Sons, as you know, is the parent holding company for the Tata Group of companies. And my role, our role here is how do we expand the presence of Tata companies in this region, bring more companies from India, or if they're operating in one part of this region, how do we take them to more countries? How do we, how do we help them with partner selections, business models, structuring, and also how do we manage and strengthen our relationship with key stakeholders?
And what are the big differences in working here in Dubai versus working in India? Like I said, Dubai feels like home, or at least close to home, probably the least foreign country, as I like to call it. But what are the differences in the operations here, as given that you spent almost 10 years working in India as well?
pros and cons, right? Let me start with the cons. And clearly, India is an inflection point. Whenever I go to India, I get massive FOMO. There's so much happening in India. I feel the more I'm staying away, the more I'm losing out. The more, the scale is different, the pace is different. To me, that's a massive trade-off because of all of the action which is in India when it comes to working in Dubai. What I love about Dubai, personally, of course, great place to stay. It's the Indian lifestyle which you would want to have in a country outside of India. All of the conveniences with a little more of the glitz and glamour and all of that, and of course, zero tax regime, right? What I absolutely love and I'm learning to appreciate more is how visionary this country and this region is. If you think of it, 35 years ago, this was just desert. And a large part of it is still desert. But to be able to create a $400 billion economy here from just desert and historically oil is phenomenal. Some of you have been to Dubai before, Ankit's been to Dubai before. They're probably the best marketeers I know of. Every 3, 4, 5 years you come to Dubai, you'll have 10 different things to do. And to be able to stay relevant, continue to update themselves, you need to learn how to do it from Dubai. The other thing which has happened, Ankit, here is it's got great vision and it's got the ability to execute. People, once the leader decides that this is what he wants UAE to do, all departments, corporate houses, government departments, everyone works towards that vision. So when a project is coming in, unfortunately, we talk about it, it might even take us in India 2-3 years to just conceptually get approvals, permission. Here in 18 months, it's up and running.
3 suggestions that you would like to leave people with based on your career journey or whatever you've experienced so far. Any 3 things that come to your mind?
The first one is be flexible. Just because you thought that this is what you wanted to do, this is what you feel you'd be best at, don't commit to it in a way that you can't really come back from it. Second, I would say would be people skills. I think today, in my career journey of what I feel at least helps me differentiate myself to the peers is being able to see value at the intersections. Today you're the best marketer, but if you don't understand how sales works or how operations or how supply chain work, you will not be able to execute the best campaign in the market. And you do that through your people skills. It's not necessarily functional knowledge, but more you have a cup of tea with someone, you realize what their pain points are, what their drivers are.
There's one more option. Since you spoke about the interdisciplinary knowledge that people need to have, which is why we have a program called the Alt Uni Super 30, where we take people across various functions, across marketing, supply chain, product management, especially for this particular bit that you just spoke of. Yeah. Okay, carry on. Sorry, that was my little bit of a plug. The third thing.
Okay, so I'm thinking through the third thing is, personally I feel balance work and family. It's good to be ambitious. I don't regret the choice of moving to Dubai because I think that was the right thing to do as a family, because when you get married you will it's not just your ambitions. I'm assuming all of your partners would be working and you will need to figure out what's best for the both of you, and which will mean that you may have to take a back seat at some point, your spouse may have to take a back seat at some point. Be open with that. Over the longer term it will work out.
Thank you so much for bringing that up though. Because I've seen a lot of examples where this doesn't happen. So that's great to end the session here